Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as we look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get our wrestling history on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is April 13th, and we are going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1927, Antonio Rocca. 1936, Dr. Wagner Jr. 1937, Stan Stasiak. 1943, Alfonso Dantes. 1964, Mo from Men on a Mission. 1970, watch out for the pounce, Monty Brown. 1977, Christian York. And last but not least, 1990, Flash Morgan Webster. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for April 13th. 2016, journeyman wrestler, Christian Abel. Alright, enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for April 13th. Let's get in that Wayback Machine and go to 1960. Hard-Boiled Haggerty and Butcher Vachon defeat Lord James Bleard and Herb Freeman to win the NWA Hawaiian Tag Team titles in Honolulu, Hawaii. 1963, Kay Noble defeats Kathy Starr for the vacant AWA World Women's title in St. Paul, Minnesota. 1965, Carl and Kurt Von Brunner defeat Jackie Fargo and Mario Milano for the Mid-American NWA World Tag Team titles in Nashville, Tennessee, beginning their fifth reign. Grabbing our polyester and going to the 70s, 1970, Gene Kiniski defeats Mark Lewin to win the Vancouver NWA Pacific Coast Heavyweight title in Vancouver, Canada. Staying in 1970, Albert Wall defeats Steve Vedor for the British Heavyweight title in Nottingham, England. 1971, one of the greatest tag team feuds continues as Jack and Jerry Briscoe defeat Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk to win the NWA Florida Tag Team titles in Tampa, Florida, beginning the Briscoes' second reign. 1974 sees Ripper Collins defeat Jimmy Snuka to win the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight title, ending Snuka's second reign and beginning Collins' third. 1977, Roddy Piper defeats Chavo Guerrero to win the NWA World Light Heavyweight title. Grabbing our boomboxes and making two stops in the year 1980, first, Ole Anderson defeats killer Carl Cox in Knoxville, Tennessee for the NWA Southeastern Heavyweight title, ending Cox's third reign. Second stop in 1980, Gringo defeats Singo to win the UWA World Welterweight title in Monterrey, Mexico. At the same show, Antonio Inoki defeats Tiger Jet Singh for the UWA World Heavyweight title. 1983, Terry Allen and Brad Armstrong defeat the Fabulous Kangaroos, John Heffernan, and Don Kent to win the NWA Florida Global Tag Team titles in Miami, Florida, ending the Kangaroos' fourth reign. Also at the same show, NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair fights Barry Windham to a time-limit draw to retain his title. Staying in 1983, Ted DiBiase and Mr. Olympia defeat Tiger Conway Jr. and Mr. Wrestling 2 for the Mid-South Tag Team titles. 1985 sees Mike Dupree and Sonny Myers defeat Rick Davis and Tim Patterson to win the Vancouver NWA Canadian Tag Team titles. In the main event of the evening, Hulk Hogan pinned Stan Hansen. 1992, Lauren Davenport defeats Miss Texas for the USWA Women's title in Memphis, Tennessee. 1994, Jesse Ventura was awarded $809,000 in videotape royalties and over $8,000 in merchandising royalties by a St. Paul, Minnesota court stemming from a lawsuit against the WWF. Ventura had argued he wasn't compensated for the use of his likeness in over 90 WWF home videos. while other performers such as Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were. Staying in 1994, Diesel defeats Razor Ramon to win the WWF Intercontinental title at a WWF Superstars taping in Rochester, New York. The match would air on April 30th. And last but not least, 1997, ECW's very first pay-per-view event, Barely Legal, takes place in front of 1,170 fans at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Of course, in the main event, Terry Funk pinned ECW World Heavyweight Champion Raven with a roll-up after Tommy Dreamer had DDT'd Raven to win the title. This ended Raven's second reign and began Funk's second. Those were your pro wrestling history highlights for April 13th. I'm the Eclectic Gentleman, Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.